Well, sever the bond from Nets Republic. You see the title of the video. We're finally going to have that conversation. I've been putting it aside because we had a back-to-back like the day the news broke, and I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer because I was assuming we were going to win one of these games, but that's neither here nor there. We can go ahead and have the conversation now. We're all aware by now this is late-breaking news. There are reports from Shams and Woj and everyone and their mama them who are reporting that Mr. James Harden is telling people in the Nets organization and people close to him that he's not a fan of living in Brooklyn. And one of the main reasons why he feels like he would even want to entertain the idea of testing free agency in the summer is because of his frustration with Steve Nash, because of his frustration with the situation that the Nets are in currently, and frustration with Kyrie Irving. Now, the Steve Nash thing, there's really nothing we can do about that, and I feel like he knew what he was getting into joining the team, so we're going to take the Steve Nash part out of the equation. I can't speak to him not enjoying New York compared to being in Houston. Never been to Houston, so I'll just take that part off as well. This video, I don't want to focus on rumors and where he might go or even if he'll stay. We need to have the Kyrie Irving conversation on Nets Republic. And I've been avoiding this, trying to figure out what is a way I could do this without getting fired. And I'm like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and see what happens. James Harden is frustrated with Kyrie Irving, and that's not alleged. That's not a rumor. That is factual. They talk about it constantly on Yes Network broadcasts. James Harden has been baited into commenting on it post-game for several games now. With Kyrie Irving not being able to play in home games and certain away games, obviously the continuity of the team is a little wild. And with Kevin Durant not out there because he's hurt, it's even worse because sometimes it's just James Harden. And I'm sure we all watched the latest episode of The Bridge. We know why James Harden is here. James Harden is here to win a championship. He forced himself out of even remotely trying to see what would happen with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. Like, he didn't even try it. He just immediately dipped. He forced his way out of Houston to come to us to win a championship. Last year, it was literal health that got in the way, and that was under no one's control. It was just terrible timing and allegedly a dirty play that we won't bring up on here because I, again, don't want to get fired. But this year, with the exception of the KD injury that we're experiencing right now, and Harden's work back from the hamstring, we'll call it that, there are no real restrictions that are out of the hands of players or anyone really that is preventing the big three from being out there. And as we've discussed a million times, I'm sure the players are aware of it as well, the team is constructed around all three of them being out there. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. That is what the team is constructed for. We're not here for, well, someone's not here this game, someone's not here at that game. That's not what we're constructed for. We came into this year under the impression that it is the first year that all three of them are going to be out there all the time and we're going to dominate the league. The reason why we haven't received that, because keep in mind, Kevin Durant was healthy for about almost 100% of the season up until recently, up until the knee thing. The reason why Kyrie's is not out there, is not because of an injury. It's not because he was, really suspended like that, like it was a behavioral thing. Kyrie Irving is not out there because he refuses to get vaccinated. Now, to preface this conversation, I don't care what your vaccination stance is. I promise you I don't. That's not what this is about. I promise you I'm keeping this as basketball as humanly possible. James Harden signed up to play with this team at full strength. That is why he is here. And with Kyrie making an active decision to not be a part of the team, and the Nets are making no indication that they're trying to fix that situation by, and again, as we talked about, either trading Kyrie for someone who will play and is vaccinated of his caliber or somewhere around there, or just paying the fine and letting Kyrie play unvaccinated, which might not be realistic, but those are the options we have. The Nets aren't going to take those steps. We're not going to see the Kyrie for Ben Simmons. Like, it's not happening. The Kyrie for Kristaps Porzingis, everyone's like wild take of who it is we get for Kyrie, a De'Aaron Fox or something like that. Like, we're not going to see that because the Nets are not going to trade Kyrie. They've made it clear. We're halfway through the season. We're at the point where when COVID was just running rampant like Hulkamania in the 80s and the 90s, early 90s, not so much because the NWA, anyway, they were bringing back Kyrie, who already wasn't vaccinated. What I'm trying to get at is with Kyrie willingly not coming back, he's not hurt. He's choosing to not come back. And I'm keeping it strictly basketball. I'm not talking about any social stuff. I could, but I'm not talking about any social stuff. I'm keeping it strictly Nets Republic basketball here. This man is choosing to not come back. I can understand why James Harden would be upset. And with our run of luck and how it just seems like we're falling apart and there's no consistency and nothing to hang on to, you don't even know who's available game to game. Then on top of that, Steve Nash is the coach. I mean, this paper-thin Band-Aid roster. If I'm James Harden, I would be upset too. And controversial or not, if he decides to leave us in the summer, I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. Because I think he deserves to go someplace to go get that ring. Because if the Nets are not going to take the necessary steps to put us in a position to win in our last chance, in our last championship window, that is this season, I'll remind everyone for the 9 millionth time, all these vets that we have surrounding the big three are on one-year deals. And I promise you they're hitting the Jeff Green after this season. Every last one of them. Bruce Brown sacrificed who knows what kind of bag he would have got after last year. I would not be surprised if James Harden left. If they don't get their stuff together, figure out a way to make this work, and at least have a run in the playoffs that's respectable, because keeping it a Thowie, second place to Milwaukee ain't it. If they don't do something respectable or a championship, I don't think it's championship or bust personally. I think a substantial run is enough to bring Harden back. Harden and some, because I'm convinced Kyrie's gone. But even with that, it's like if Kyrie's gone, are the Nets gonna actually go out there and improve the roster, or just keep putting Band-Aids on stuff? I can understand James Harden's frustration. I'm not mad at James. The only thing I'm mad at him for is I think offensively he could step it up a little bit more. But then even with that, I look at what Harden came here to do. And he didn't come here to be Houston Harden. Just like how Patty Mills is out there having to drop 30 in order for us to win games. Patty didn't come here for that. 6th man of the year, Patty, he didn't come here for that. What I'm saying is I wouldn't be mad if Harden left. I'll miss him very, very much. As much as I talk trash about his play this year, I will miss him. I love James Harden. I think everyone loves Harden. Again, we saw the Bridge episode. He's a great leader. He's a cool guy. Shout out James Harden. But he seems to be on that mentality of championship or nothing. And if the Nets aren't even sniffing even being in the conversation for a championship this year, I'll miss you, James. I'll grow the beard out for you. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. Personally, I blame Kyrie. Personally. I mean, there's a billion other people we can blame. I mean, you can look at a Sean, which I know is taboo to criticize Sean Marks, but like not getting anything back for Spencer Dinwiddie, letting, I forgot this man's name, letting DeAndre Jordan go for no. I mean, like, there are a million different places we can go to place the blame. I personally put it on Kyrie because I truly believe that when all three of them play, no one has a chance. And Kyrie is willingly not playing and participating. So I put it on Kyrie personally, but let me know what you think. Do you think he's going to the Sixers in the summer? You think he's here to stay? You think the situation will handle itself? You think we're hitting the panic button too soon? Let me know your thoughts down below. Pretty please. I'm Sever the Bond. This is Nets Republic. That's a red light. I'm going to go get that new Pokemon game at midnight. Yeah.